there, because the view is live. Act of Terror, the shocking tragedy at Ariana Grande's concert. Will this impact where families take their kids? Plus, Dirty Dancing star Debra talks about her powerful public plea to first daughter Ivanka Trump. Then, Race and Roses. Will the first Black Bachelorette give the show a reality check on race and relationships? Let's get things started with Whoopi, Sunny Hostin, Joy Behar, and Jedediah Bila. Now, let's get things started.
So, we want to start by saying that our hearts go out to everyone impacted by yesterday's terrorist attack in Manchester. 22 people lost their lives after a bomb was detonated after an Ariana Grande concert. And of course, ISIS is claiming responsibility. And, you know, there are so many families, you know, this is the season where concerts are starting to happen. And so, you know, what needs to happen here?
He was outside the concert venue. Yeah. So I guess that they would have caught him if he actually went in. It reminds me of when this happens at the airports, because they do have good security once you're inside the on the other side of the thing, but outside they don't. So maybe they have to start looking into the whole area,
the perimeter. It's interesting. I wonder about my family. You know, my kids want to go to these concerts. I love music and live concerts, taking the train, but they have described these as soft targets. And so you wonder, what do you do? Do you change your life as an American or as a European? Because this happened in England.
Well, it happened just outside of London.
In Manchester. So do you change your life? And I don't think you do, because I think that's what they want. Right? They want us to change who we are as a society. And I remember after the Boston marathon bombings, President Obama said, he said, it's important to remember what terrorists and violent extremists are trying to do. They are trying to hurt innocent people, but they want to inspire fear in all of us and disrupt the way we live to undermine our values. And we can't let them have that.
But brings you back to the tight security then. Because, okay, I'll go, but I want them to make sure that they do everything to make me feel safe.
Yeah, I mean, CBS News was reporting that this guy was known to British authorities before the attack. Now, I'm waiting to hear more information about that, but I think we often hear these cases and we find that there was a trail that was not followed. So first step is to follow the trail. And I think I agree with you. You don't want to change your life. You want to be who you are. You can't let terrorists dictate the way you live. But if we know that these are soft targets, it's the responsibility to tell your elected representatives, no matter where you live, no matter where you are, that these things need to be addressed. If they're saying, ISIS has repeatedly said, we're going after stadiums, we're going after sporting events, we're going after these places, they have to amp up security in a way that people feel protected.
They'll also take a big SUV and ram it into a crowd.
Well, you can't, I think,
how do you protect
that's the other thing, though. I think the admission that you can't prevent everything. Because these are people that are sick, evil, awful people that have their mindset on destruction.
And that's why you can't live in fear, because then you give in to what they want.
You can't live in fear. You can't, but we can advocate for proper protection. And if we know that they are out there saying these areas around the world, we're coming for you, then it's our responsibility as security responsibility to amp up.
You can't bitch
about the security.
You can't bitch about the lines that you know, when people are, you know, touching you in places. You know, look, this is the world we're in. And when you hear that, well, you know, a lot of things suck.
This really sucks.
But, you know, anytime you have extremists, it's a problem. You know, but when people tell you, hey, we have a hole in the airport system, pay attention.
Yeah.
And if you realize that they're not kidding when they say there's a hole in the system, it's up to us to say, we want it fixed and we're not going to come in there until you fix it.
Right. And then
that's what we can do.
Then it becomes a debate about privacy oftentimes. Like, people feel their privacy is being infringed, and you can't have it both ways oftentimes, because if this is the time we live in and these are the threats that we're getting, sometimes you have to sacrifice a little bit of that. The line needs to be longer. Maybe they need to look through your purse, because there's no other way for these people to protect people in these soft target zones.
You have to. You know, I will say this. I don't know how you felt about it, but President Trump called them evil losers. And I just thought, I didn't feel that that was presidential enough to respond to this.
It's typical of the way he talks.
But, you know, again, hearkening back to President Obama, who talked about the victims and didn't talk about the bomber necessarily, bombers, but talked about the victims and talked about how we as a society have to come together.
Yeah,
I was expecting something like that.
Everybody kvetched and said, you know, he wasn't strong enough. You know, it's like you can't win. You know, you can't win. This is not an argument you can win. It's apples and oranges. It's up to us to start to kvetch and say we want more protection, and we are willing to stand in the line. We're not going to, you know, get mad and, I don't want you touching me in a way that doesn't make me comfortable, but I will let you x-ray me. Because I need you to know that I don't have anything on me. And when people are talking about all the new ways people are trying to get stuff done, you know, and Manchester had been mentioned. They said this was a soft target. They had said this can be an issue. And sometimes, you know, like all of us, we don't really pay attention until we absolutely have to. And that's unfortunately what we're looking at here.
Trump also, just to say, Trump also said, I understand that you didn't like that choice of words. For me, it wasn't aggressive enough, but then I read further. He said dozens of innocent people, beautiful young children, savagely murdered in this heinous attack upon humanity, called for crushing the hateful ideology. There were other things that he said that I felt.
That for him.
I just...
I didn't make that up.
I think our administration has to rise above in these times and become presidential, and to call them evil losers.
A lot of people though feel that when a lot of people at home, people who voted for him, feel that he's saying what they would say. They're sitting at home and they're having a reaction, a gut reaction, and they're feeling that he's speaking their language in many ways. And sometimes it's just real and authentic, and it's not polished and it's not professorial.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look, when we, you know, people got very angry because Obama was too articulate for them. You know, they found him overeducated. It's like, look, I want my president to be one step above. I want him to be a step, or her, to be one step above. And I don't want them talking like I would talk. You don't want to hear a president saying the stuff I would say. You know what I mean?
I might sign up for that.
No, because when it comes down to it, if you're the president, if you're the president of a country, you have to speak for that country.
There's a certain
decorum. There's, you know. But,
no, I agree.
You know.
I personally feel that way, but I do also understand the point of people feeling like they like the fact that he just says what's on his mind sometimes. And sometimes
I don't like
that means using a choice of words that's not.
Well, you know, here's you know, kind of where we are with stuff when people say what's on their mind. You know, there's been a struggle for the last several hundred years in America that I thought at one point was heading in a fairly good direction after the mayor of New Orleans gave a powerful speech defending the removal of Confederate monuments. He pointed out that the Confederacy was formed with the belief that white supremacy and keeping slavery alive, and that was what was to be part of the United States. And of course now, I thought we were heading in a good direction, but Mississippi State Representative Carl Oliver set everything back by saying anyone taking down Confederate monuments should be lynched.
This is insanity.
This is an elected official?
And he issued an apology, of course. But
you know
some things.
He also is the man that represents Money, Mississippi, which is where the Emmett Till incident happened. And one would think you would be smart enough not to use lynching
You would think.
As your way of describing your annoyance.
You know, there's a city in, I guess, West Virginia, is it called Lynchburg? And I always wonder, why do they keep calling it, change that name?
But I wonder how someone like that got elected, because if you look at the 2015 census, 73% of the constituents in that county are black. So either they didn't vote, to come out and vote. I mean, this man should be someone that represents the people in his county, and he did apologize.
Sometimes you don't know. Sometimes somebody talks a good game.
That's right.
Says all the things like you would say it.
And
Well played.
We'll be right back with more Hot Topics.
This week on The View, we're diving into more red hot topics.
Yes.
And tomorrow, what'll happen when co-host
Governor John Kasich
and this superstar rapper both hit the table?
Oh, yeah. Wait for that one.
Plus, our political view keeps on sizzling when Donald Rumsfeld faces the ladies.
Oh!
Wow. This week on Still Ahead, Debra Messing talks about rebooting the beloved classic Dirty Dancing and the return of Will and Grace.
So the new season of The Bachelorette kicked off last night.
Get excited.
Oh, yeah. And Rachel Lindsay claims this season will be just like any old other season, even though she's the first black bachelorette. Now, can it be just like any old other season? No. Well, she doesn't apparently know this. But I kind of feel it might add a little new layer to it. What do you think?
Good idea.
I think so. And also, she's 32. She's the oldest one. Usually they're super young.
Ancient.
So, no, I mean, but it is. It's the oldest one. I don't know if they've ever had one in their 30s even. I could be wrong about that.
I don't think they have.
Yeah, no. I think it could add another layer to it. And I think it's really interesting if you watch it, how these guys come out of the car and greet her. They have these really sort of lavish, they're in costumes. I mean, this one's dressed as a penguin.
Yeah.
They bring like a little doll or something. I don't know. And I keep waiting for, see, if this were me though, the guy that came up to me and just said, hey, like, I'm Alex, nice to meet you. Yeah. That would be the guy that got my attention.
Just like anyone else.
Right.
Exactly.
They're only there to be on television. Don't you
They're
realize
there to find love.
Listen. Have you not seen Trista and Ryan?
They're still married, aren't they?
Trista and Ryan.
Those two actually stayed married.
They did.
That's it, though.
They're there to find love and
100
companionship.
seasons and one actual couple got married.
Well, you know, I think it's very interesting that they have added this layer of race, because I think as a society, we're still a bit uncomfortable with interracial relationships. I mean, my parents are an interracial relationship, and people stared at us when I was a kid. And it's shocking to me, but even today, we go out to dinner, the three of us, and people are still very curious about it. They're very interested. Yeah, I mean, they're very interested in it. It's like you know, we're not as comfortable, I think, with that as we are with a lot of other things.
Well, people have to get over it, because love doesn't care.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know?
Love doesn't care.
Love doesn't care. You love who you love, whether, you know, it's woman to woman, man to man, man to woman, doesn't matter. Black to white, white to yellow, yellow to red, it doesn't matter. Love is love.
Wow.
That's what it is.
I'm very interested in who she ends up with, though. Right? Well, I'm so interested.
You know.
I'm glad. I'm sad that it took this long, though. I'm glad that they have someone who's African American. I would love to see, you know, when I watch TV shows, I want people at home to be able to find themselves in every show and be able to say, you know, and even with kids shows, I always find
every show.
Well, I feel like you should be able to find. No, look, like when you have these dolls sometimes, and you have, you know, like I want those. We're talking about kids, you know, when they're like African American or Asian or whatever, and they want to reach for a little doll, and they often say, like, where's the doll that looks like me? It reminds me of that even in television. There's still television shows where I want more diversity, where I want people at home growing up watching this to feel represented, and I was glad that they did this. I think it's a little late.
It's interesting that you should say that, but it's, you know, people, religion plays a big part in things, because, you know, people do want to see people who represent them on television. And so, but we're finding that there are issues sometimes if it happens to be a gay person, or if it's a transgender person, or if it's an interracial person. You know, we find that sometimes religion says, oh, that's not good, or some group that you're with says that you shouldn't be mixing the races. But you know what? The heart does what the heart's going to do.
So we're a nation of busybodies, basically. Well, it's like, you know,
mind your business.
Are openly uncomfortable.
MYOB, and everybody will be happy.
I was telling Joy, my father dated an Italian woman after he divorced my mom, and they kept on calling him
I'm not saying.
Can I say? Is it a slur?
Yes.
Oh, well, they kept on calling him
eggplant. Just say eggplant.
And he was like, I think it's nice. I said, I don't think that's nice. Why are they not? You know. But it was very open. But the other thing about this bachelorette, one of the guys, are we going to talk about this? One of the guys like cold on, grabbed her.
Oh, yeah.
And
don't do that, guys.
Kissed her.
Don't do that.
Like right out of the gate. Yeah.
I'm not surprised by that. It's the bachelorette.
We have a clip, though. You gotta
take a look at it.
Have you not seen this show before? They're doing much more than that.
But check this out.
Check it out, though.
He grabbed her by the lips.
It was crazy.
You're a troublemaker.
It's just a little joke.
Oh, there's no truth behind that?
There's good trouble.
Don't believe
there's good trouble. It's only the best trouble.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
He just took it upon himself to take me in his arms and kiss me, and I was not ready for it, did not want to kiss anybody tonight, but boy, did I love it.
See what I'm saying? No. And she gave him the first impression rose.
Okay.
I mean, is that something you would...
No, that is not something I would. Did you see me just... No. Like, you need to... First of all, men, you should have to work for that kiss. I'm just saying that straight off the bat. And secondly, like, I could see if it was at the end of the date at least, where you got to know her, but don't be touching with your mouth.
But you know, if it's an amazing kiss, couldn't that be the one?
Oh, who cares?
How did she know? She didn't even know his name.
The main thing is, here's my take on it. I don't care if he kisses me when I like him, but a lot of times, like, you're giving the guy the heave-ho, and then they grab you like a last-ditch attempt, just like to grab you and kiss you before you jump them.
Yeah.
That's happened to me.
So too aggressive. Too aggressive.
I don't like it at the end. I don't mind it at the beginning.
Too much.
She liked it, though. She said she liked it.
She said she liked it, and he got the first impression rose, and like I think it's, I don't know the percentage, but a bunch of 35% of those who receive it make it to the final four. 50%. 50%. Yep. That was some kiss.
And the others put it in the botanical gardens. Next topic.
Yeah. Okay, we'll be right back.
Half off everything you need this summer. So get to viewyourdeal.com now.
We just talked about the most amazing stuff. Swimsuit season is here, almost. And it's so crippling for millions of women to think about putting one of those things on. And lifestyle website Refinery29 found that women say this gives them the most body anxiety.
Yes.
Yes.
It's scary. It's scary.
Horrible.
And the lighting, I don't know, ladies, you might, when you go to these fitting rooms, is it not like the lighting is the worst lighting
It's supposed to be good lighting. I thought it was trick lighting.
I see dimples I didn't know I had. I turn around, I'm like, where did that come from?
I
like,
know.
Well, you're wrong. You must try them on in the dark. That's the key. Turn all the lights out and go, or in the closet. That's a good spot.
Oh,
but the beach is in dark.
In my case, I wear a beekeeper's outfit. That's the beach. I don't even wear a bathing suit.
It is stressful, and they're so tiny. Like, I went the other day to a store looking for something, and I'm like, they don't make as many one pieces anymore, and the two pieces, they're like like that.
What was the thing we read the other day about these women who go on vacation and they take like they go away for like 5 days,
5 bathing suits.
and they take 5 bikinis with them.
Yes, yes.
And then they
like
take, at night they put a skirt and they wear the top. And then they wear
jewelry.
The
I'll say though, it's women. I think it's women that put this pressure on ourselves and other women, because I know guys, I've put on swimsuits. I see all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
You know, my boyfriend's like, you look great.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I know, my husband's like, what are you talking about?
Great. There's a stretch mark over here. I took the magnifying glass in the bathroom and I found, you know, women are very critical. So we need to own that.
Well,
we need to own
it's the magazines. I mean, these are, you know, these magazines are like Mein Kampf after a while.
I hear they're all airbrushed, though.
I mean, it's all airbrushed, and still, the girls in those magazines, where do they grow those girls? They're like,
I know.
in the airbrush factory.
So, you know, it's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure from outside.
Do you wear bathing suits, Whoopi?
Yes, I do.
Do 1-piece or 2-piece?
Depends on what I'm in the mood for.
You don't, I like that. You know what I mean? I just, they were so teeny tiny.
You know what? Look, you might have been in the wrong area.
I was.
And sometimes some of this pressure, some of this pressure, I'm going to explain it to you.
Yeah.
Sometimes people put on bathing suits they should not be wearing.
Yeah.
Okay? And that pressure is because you've decided you're going to force yourself into this bathing suit that you know is going to bring you angst.
Yes.
And then you get there and people are like, you think they're talking about you. They may not be.
They don't even know it's your problem.
They know.
But people are so involved in their own thing.
Except that no one will give folks credit for that. And that's why women say, you know, I want to wear this bathing suit. I'm going to do this to wear this. Look, if you're comfortable in the suit, then it shouldn't matter what other people think of you in the suit. But if you're not comfortable...
We learned, you know, we used to have a lot of segments on this show and back in the day of how to wear a bathing suit, how to get dressed, all those kinds of segments that they now do on other shows. But one thing I learned is buy a bathing suit one size bigger than you are.
Oh.
Yes. So if you're a 10, you should get a 12 because you're more comfortable in it and you don't feel, and also the fat doesn't pop out that way.
That's a good tip.
And also,
buy a nice cover-up.
Who are you? You know, the other thing is when you go to the beach, who are you dressing for?
The lifeguard.
You know, then you should wear something that makes the lifeguard comfortable. Because if you are this big, if you're a bag of bones and you're this big, you don't look good in a 2-piece bathing suit. You don't look good in a bikini. If you are 9 feet across, you also don't look good in the bathing suit. So it's really about what's going to look good on me.
And what's comfortable and what you can get into the water with, because I'm usually running around with my kids, so I don't want the teeny tiny thing. You know, I want.
So what are you looking for?
I think I'm going to go to a sports place.
Go to a bathing suit place.
To get like a sports thing.
Go to a bathing suit place. There are several of them. Several really good ones. We'll be right back. Now, some students said they walked off because Pence's policies made them feel unsafe. They didn't appreciate him, and so isn't that what civil disobedience is supposed to be?
See, it bothers me. They have a right to do it. I mean, but it bothers me that it seems that young people, the generations that are rising up, have a hard time listening to stuff they disagree with and just listening. There's a lot of times that I go into a room and someone's speaking. I don't like their policies. I don't necessarily like what they advocate for. I don't necessarily agree with them, but I sit and I listen, and sometimes I leave that room more passionate about how I feel and saying, wow, I really don't like that guy, and sometimes I learn something and I say, you know what, there's another side to him, or I hadn't thought about that. It's okay. I think the message needs to be, it's okay to disagree, but you don't always have to get up and walk out.
They're not there really to listen or not listen. They're there to make a point. When they walk off, they're making a point. The point is, I'm an LGBT person, let's say, right? You do not represent me. You are hostile to my people.
And maybe you need to rethink your policy.
Maybe you need to. We're making a point now and a statement.
It's very American. It's the bedrock of our society, the ability to get up and walk out and make these points. And I mean, I went to Notre Dame, and it's a very conservative university. And in 2009, when Obama came, conservatives were very upset and protested because of stem cell research. And so bottom line is, this is something that's a tradition for Notre Dame. And I want my Notre Dame fellow members and graduates and alum to stand up for what they believe in. That's what we should be doing.
But part of that should be an appreciation for diversity of thought. And the fact is, you don't have to agree.
They know what he's thinking already.
But they don't have to agree with him. And so, maybe their protest is their disagreement.
If there is a guy who, if there's a man who is, because sometimes, if you know what somebody has to say, you don't want to hear it. I don't, you know, I think most of these folks made a very specific decision because what he was about affects them in such ways that they don't want to hear it. Because really, if, you know, I shouldn't have to listen to a guy who's wearing a, you know, wearing a hood, who I know wants to string me up.
You know
I shouldn't want to.
That's a little bit different.
No, it's not, because it's no different than an LGBTQ kid. Listen,
as governor of Indiana,
he's trying to murder people.
Listen to me. Ism, okay, whether it's, you know, racism or you don't like gay people, if when you say to somebody, I don't believe that you actually feel that way, because I believe that God has told me, forget what God has said to you. God told me that you shouldn't be who you are. When you're sitting with someone who is saying that to you, you don't want to sit and watch it, and you don't want to disrupt it. You don't want to scream, but you want to get up and say, I'm not going to take it.
When we walked off, Whoopi and I walked off the set one day. Everybody who watches the show knows we walked off the set when Bill O'Reilly was talking about against a certain group of people and sweeping it against Muslims and saying that Muslims, all Muslims, were going to be terrorists and they were responsible for 9/11. And to sit there with him and argue the point seemed futile to me.
See, that's different, though,
my position was, I'm not going to sit here and listen to this.
That's different, though, because
And Barbara Walters was upset with us.
Okay,
she said to both of us, Whoopi and I both walked off. She said, you should have sat there and argued with him. And then we were like, no, we didn't want to argue with that. Because it's worth it for us to show you the back of our...
He made an inflammatory remark, though. And if you listen to the speech that he actually gave Mike Pence, there was an opportunity for some unity there. All I'm saying is if we want to be a country that has some unity, you have to be able to sit and listen to
what? No, listen. What needs to happen is he needs to stand up and say some of what we're doing is not good for America. And then, well, but you know, those people have the right to get up and walk out. We'll be right back.
I agree.
You know.
Hey, Debra Messing here to chat with the ladies and tell you all about my role in the Dirty Dancing remake. And I have to tell you, I really did have the time of my life. You see, it's from the song. Skip it.
Hey, so there are two epic pop culture events heading your way on television. They both have one thing in common. It's that woman right there, the fabulous Debra Messing. So she's doing Dirty Dancing on ABC and the triumphant return of Will and Grace.
Wow.
So, Debra Messing, welcome back.
Thank you. It's always great being here.
Yes. So we were talking about Notre Dame and students walking out.
Yeah.
What do you think?
With all due respect, I think
it's all good.
I think that that Mr. Pence has made himself very, very clear about his positions.
Yeah.
You know, saying that conversion therapy is the way to deal with homosexuality. I don't think that there's any reason to wait to hear his point of view, because the point of view has been made so clear. And I think now what's been proven since the new administration has started is that people are showing their feelings through protest. Yeah. And it's a visual, and it's a thing where people can make their voices heard.
Right. Okay. So, we agree with you. So, recently you got a lovely award from GLAAD for excellence in media, which is nice. And you just gave a speech there about somebody in particular. Let's watch.
Ivanka. Girlfriend. What are you doing? Come on, it's me, Deb. Let's talk for a second. One Jewish mother to another. You can change the lives of millions of women and children just by telling your dad stories about real people who are suffering.
This question. Have you heard from Ivanka since then?
No, I haven't. And honestly, I didn't expect to.
No.
I didn't.
Oh. Well, there was no flack, nothing for that?
Nothing. Well, no. You know, it was such a special moment in my life to be honored there in that way. And I just thought, I really wrote the speech with the crowd in mind. That I thought that they would enjoy that. And also just to show, again, I mean, it's now out in the media, the power of media, and to be able to take the responsibility on to use your voice.
Do you think she tries a little though, Ivanka? Does she try?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I only know what I see, and actions speak louder than words. And
I would love to talk to you about Dirty Dancing.
Please!
One of my favorites of all time. The original came out in 1987, and it's a classic. It's iconic. And in this new version, you played Baby's mom.
I know.
Marjorie Hausman.
How much is on?
I know, right?
What's interesting is that there are new storylines for people to dig into.
There are. It's really exciting because the original was an hour and a half because it was a feature film, and this is on television, so it's going to be longer. So they built up storylines, and so you really get to know the character of Marjorie, the mom, and the relationship between the mom and the dad, and within the dynamics within the family. And you also find out what happens to Baby and Johnny after the summer ends.
Oh. Which has always been the cliffhanger.
Which is so awesome.
It's always been the cliffhanger. Now we have a clip of Marjorie and her husband, Jake. Take a look at this.
You haven't touched me in almost a year.
Can we please not have this conversation right now?
Why do you think I pushed you to come back here? I was hoping that maybe this place would remind you the last time that we were here, you couldn't keep your hands off me.
Well, it was 10 years ago.
I'm 45 years old, Jake. I'm not dead yet.
March.
Wow. Now, I have to ask you this, though. Did you get to try the infamous lift?
Nice one, son.
That was very nice. I tried it in my pool when I was 14. And I did very well. But I can tell you that the night that Abby did it, it was one of the most beautiful, emotional, exciting moments ever because she'd been working for months. And it happened at 3:30 in the morning, and we were all there, and we were all holding our breath, and she just flew, and she got up there, and literally the whole place just exploded with screams, and I was crying like I was her mother. I mean, it was just like, it was fantastic.
Debra, I am a huge Will and Grace fan.
She is.
Huge. And so many people are so excited for this show to come back. Now, this show, one thing that always struck me about it is it was so groundbreaking in terms of acceptance of the gay community. It really changed the way the world looked at the community. Did you realize that at the time, or when did you realize it was having such a big impact?
You know, at first we really didn't. We didn't know if we were going to even last 3 or 4 episodes. And about a year into it, we started getting letters, and they were really profound, powerful letters. And that's when we realized that, you know, I was getting letters like, you know, I just came out and my best friend won't speak to me, but my mom and I watch the show together, and it's a way for us to heal and learn about each other. And so that was the moment where it's like, okay, this is something larger than just some show that makes people laugh.
Yeah, it changed people's lives. I remember being in school and having friends that were coping with that and watching this show and having them say, this is changing my life. So so many people thank you for that.
I'm so proud to be a part of it, and humbled and thrilled that we're coming back and are able to make you guys laugh.
What's it like to be together? What is that like?
Oh my gosh, I swear to God, it feels like no time has passed. It's been 11 years. And swear to God, we were just like goofy and touching each other inappropriately and giggling and
something that's still happening. As you should. You have to just come back more often.
Yeah, I would love to. I know.
Don't see enough. So thanks for coming. And you can see her in Dirty Dancing on Wednesday night, 8, 7 Central, right here on ABC. And the soundtrack is available now. And you know what?